folks, welcome back to the show where it is not wrestling with your budget. It is not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion, and there is a lot to get emotional about this week. We got the Raw after WrestleMania fallout. We're one day from SmackDown after WrestleMania in Detroit, Michigan. And of course, we are less than 24 hours since the Young Bucks and AEW released the CM Punk footage from All In. But with that said, speaking of releasing footage, why don't you go release some endorphins and have a great time at the region's premier entertainment destination, Batavia Downs.
Batavia Downs is more, lots more.
Quick reminder, we got Nickel City Wrestling at Batavia Downs this Sunday. Great matches on tap. We got Hollywood Haley J. I know Slick's looking forward to that, and much more. Batavia Downs this Sunday, 3 p.m., I believe, is first bell. Get there for all the action. But let's get our action in here with our panel. It's Slick L. It is your friend, our friend, my friend, Jake Mike, and it is the Prophet, Rob Ryan, ready to drop some gospel on us. So, Rob, I know you've been waiting all afternoon for this. I know you got some gospel, so why don't we let you go first here? What's that you hear on Wrestling with Emotion?
I mean, first off, I'll leave AEW for the end. First off, what a night 2 for WrestleMania. Finally, Cody Rhodes finally finished his story, what we've all been asking for over a year and a half now, ever since probably 2023 Royal Rumble. What a match that was, especially for last year. Obviously, we know he should not be named had a part in night 2 of WrestleMania after a very strong night 1. But this year's WrestleMania, I mean, both nights were outstanding. Banger after banger. No, maybe one bad match the whole weekend, which is unfortunate. It's one that we thought would be good, but besides that, I mean, what a spectacular show they put on. Leading into Monday night, obviously Raw after Mania. Once again, he should not be named, ruined last year's. This year's, I think it was great. It wasn't as big as maybe some expected, but I think it definitely started building more feuds down the line. Who knows when those will be? Maybe in SummerSlam, maybe I've heard rumors even next WrestleMania, which I think it's a little too far. Good action all around. Obviously, a couple NXT people came back. I think it was good overall. And now what we all endured last night. Before I start, I wanted to say this has nothing to do with AEW. I love what AEW does. This had nothing to do with any of the superstars on their company except for 2. I mean,
superstar
stars, whatever the fucking call them, employees, whatever. It's a great secondary option to the wrestling community, especially during the Vince times. But with what WWE is doing right now, AEW needs to pick it up. And last night just showed that there's a lot of people saying that Tony Khan's a child and petty and the Bucks have to grow up, and I think last night showed it. The video was not needed. Sure, it may help a storyline, but was anyone actually talking about the storyline after it was aired? No, they were talking about CM Punk, about how did this video go over or did it not? And clearly many within that company did not want it to happen. There was maybe very few that probably wanted to even show it. Tony Khan says he did it for viewership. The numbers looked very normal last night. Maybe a little spike, not what probably many people expected. And they say they did it for viewership for Dynasty. I don't think that video is gaining any more viewership for that show.
Okay, we'll get to that point now. I'm pulling the plug on you, Prophet.
Okay.
I like that. I like that kicking us off. You're shot out of a cannon. That's exactly what we wanted. Micah, give me the Raw after WrestleMania Fallout Night 2. Give me the whole enchilada for this week so far.
Well, yeah, we got to start off with the greatest WrestleMania main event ever. I mean, potentially, like there's other people that are going to put, Austin Bret Hart. There's an Austin Rock. You can talk about, Daniel Bryan 10 years ago. But really, this was one of the most. It's crazy because in WWE, you never get the satisfying ending. At least it felt like it was few and far between. And this was the most satisfying ending. That last 8-minute stretch was some of the best overbooked madness that you could ask for in a wrestling match. And Cody winning was a real moment that people are going to remember for a long time. it made a lot of wrestling fans. We saw people, you know, I've had people that never talked about wrestling to me come up and ask me about Cody Rhodes. And it's like, wow, like I never would have imagined like having just casual conversations with friends about Cody Rhodes. But here we are. It was wonderful. Him and Roman honestly put on a great 20 minutes before any of the madness started. It was already shaping up to be a good match. They have great chemistry together. So loved to see that. As a Seth Rollins fan, first and foremost, I loved the way that they kind of finished that story with Cody and Seth and having the Roman and Seth angle to have Roman's real downfall be a hatred that goes back 10 years, tying in all these loose ends and everything. It really was just, it made their three, you know, besides The Rock, their three biggest stars were vital and important to the end of that show. It was a great ending, as satisfying of an ending as a wrestling fan you could ask for. I don't know, what did The Rock hand him? What did he give Cody Rhodes, man? I don't know what it could be. I feel like my speculation on this is that The Rock has been, you know, there was all this talks about The Rock being a double agent all this time. What if The Rock knew that Bloodline rules would help out Cody, or at least hope so? They have some kind of deal, and now we've got Rocky kind of pulling the strings of this Cody reign, and Cody kind of has to kind of live with his making the deal with the devil. So that's interesting from there. We can get into. You want me to go into the all-in footage, or we want to save that for later?
Well, let's hit the breaks. Let's hit the breaks. I like that Rob did a little taper.
That was my bad. I didn't know if you.
No,
wanted
it's
to
all
go
good.
Oh, you're good.
through.
It's all good. Yeah, no, but I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, I think it's absolutely. I have about 20 to 23 or 4 WrestleManias under my belt overall. I can't imagine that this is anywhere outside the top 3. I can't imagine that it's not the top one. Again, is it hyperbole because it only happened 4 days ago and, we kind of got to separate from it? I think so, yes. But at the same time, just like all the matches were so quality. Night 1 was kind of like a house party, and night 2 was kind of like a really nice night out, like with like maybe like an all-you-can-drink special. It was kind of very fulfilling, very glamorous, all that stuff. I'll just jump into Raw after WrestleMania real quick before we get to Slick here. I thought that was pretty good overall. I think there was some serious work to do. I mean, the segment with The Rock and Cody going 45 minutes was absolutely insane. I did not expect Rock and Cody to get a "this is awkward" chant. Did you guys know that was a direct callback to their interaction like 10 years ago?
No,
I didn't know until after.
Hell no.
I almost thought that clip was like Illuminati made up, but you see Cody Rhodes coming into the ring to talk to The Rock in 2014 after he's debuting a new belt and saying, that's going to be the belt of Cody Rhodes or something. So that's pretty crazy to look back on it, all things considered with that said. So Slick, what were your thoughts on Fallout from Mania weekend and headed into the early part of the week?
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you were dumb, deaf, blind, or let's guess, assuming because you're watching this show, in case poor, my name is Slick L, baby, and this is Wrestling with Emotion. And we might have finished the story, but this is just another chapter in the sad saga that is Fragile Phil. But we shall get to that. Mania was great. Like you said, night 1, very, very good analogy. House party. Night 2, really good family feel. Everyone's out, good vibes, but there's a little bit of anxiety in the air. It was that big fight feel. We all knew that it was going to be a spot fest. We got what we were waiting for. I loved the tag match night 1, though, not to take anything away from night 1 with that main event. Obviously, Cody finishing deserves to be the headline of the night. But that night 1 tag match was just incredible all over the place. The Rock pulling his EVP powers, if you will. And then Raw.
But he was threatening to fire the ref. That was fucking hysterical.
That
was absolutely hysterical.
I was marking out for that for sure. And then Raw after Mania, I mean, you said it best. I think that opening segment, absolutely great. I think it could have been like 30 minutes as opposed to 45. There was a period where Rock literally didn't talk for like 5 minutes.
To be honest, I thought that Philly was going to get the best of The Rock, and he was just never going to be able to start. He was not starting unless he was not getting booed, and they were booing the shit out of him.
It was like when Roman was saying it was his yard. Like, that's how bad it was.
I think it was supposed to be a little shorter, but they didn't expect the crowd to literally do what they're doing against The Rock. Like, Rock didn't want to speak with I don't think anyone expected The Rock to get Dom treatment. Like,
Yeah, that was crazy. But I think though it was a great show. Like you said, a little bit of work to be done. I mean, but compared to the last, like what, 3 Raw After Manias, I came away very satisfied, and I was able to watch the full 3 hours without getting bored. Which is huge for Raw. I've always said that that extra hour just sometimes pushes the iceberg a little bit over the top. But this is a great show, and it like Jake said, what did he hand him? It continued the story further into the future. We're going to be speculating for a while. My early guess is
Give
like
it to me.
it's like a pendant of some sort that Dusty gave to Rock or something, maybe. And as soon, like, that's why he was like, oh, you know what that is the second I put it in your hand. Like an old pendant of Dusty's or
There
something.
was a lot of
that,
talk
like,
about Dusty.
he
in
knows
the promo.
exactly how it feels. That's my early prediction.
Have you seen the conspiracy theories that Cody Rhodes is technically now the tribal chief, and he gave him like something signifying that
No,
since he beat the tribal chief?
That
Yeah,
is
that was pretty wild.
Is
It was
Cody
a
gonna
trick
get
question.
My tribal chief.
But
Is he
there
gonna
are
get a
two
sleeve
questions.
now?
I think there are 2 big questions coming out of Mania and Raw about the whole Cody, about the whole Reigns match, everything like that. So I want to bring in our guy here, Dwayne O'Mania, to start it out on these. So obviously, Dwayne, we're talking WrestleMania and love the main event, like enjoyed Raw after Mania. So I want to kick off these 2 questions with you here. One, was the Undertaker kind of taking Stone Cold's spot a letdown overall, or do you think that worked out even for WWE or even better? And 2, what do you think that The Rock handed Cody Rhodes at Raw?
I think that was literally the very next best option available to them. And you knew, I mean, Undertaker is going to be there, right? He's probably at every WrestleMania, even if he's not competing. Like, he's a staple. So, I mean, would I have loved to hear the glass shatter? Absolutely. I thought WrestleMania 2 was perfect. I think that was probably the only thing that could have remotely made it better than what it was. And to what you guys have said, I think that's easily the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, main event of all time. Main event of all time, and moment of all time. I mean, my favorite before that, before this past weekend, was always the first WrestleMania I ever watched live, which was, I think it's 14. Was it 14? Austin versus HBK. I want to say 14 or 15 when Austin won the title for the first time. First one I ever watched live. That's what really made me fall in love with wrestling. Yeah, and in terms of what I think The Rock handed him, there's been a lot of talk about this watch. And they've never really elaborated whether or not, I'm assuming that's a replica watch of the exact same one Dusty had. I guess my conspiracy theory is, what if Dusty never actually sold it to a pawn shop? What if he sold it to The Rock? The Rock bought the watch, and now he's giving it back to Cody, and is like a kind of like, I'm the reason you're here, buddy. Something like that, maybe. Because, I mean, that watch was brought up multiple times. So
Yeah, what's the deal with that watch again?
So Dusty had to sell this Rolex, this gold Rolex that he had, in order to pay for Cody's acting school. And then Triple H presented him with a replica of that Rolex after he won at WrestleMania. So my thinking is, what if he never actually sold it to a pawn shop? What if it was all, a lie, and The Rock actually maybe bought it? That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's his Hall of Fame ring. I don't know. The only thing that we know is The Rock said by him handing it to him, he knew what it was without having to open his hand.
That's why I agree with you there.
Paper, really bad. Like, so
it's gotta be some of the Dusties.
So that's my guess.
Okay. Any other guesses on what The Rock handed him, or thoughts on The Undertaker showing up at Mania and says Stone Cold before we kind of move on?
Yeah, I think it, like Dwayne said, I mean, if you couldn't get Austin, who better than the man of the WrestleMania? And he's had his feuds with even Roman. He's had his feuds with Roman. He's had his feuds with The Rock. So I think there's no one better, especially at WrestleMania. And then what Rock handed Cody had to have been something small, because no one ever saw anything when it was in The Rock's hands, and when it was in Cody even like looked at it after Rock left the ring. So if there was a camera It would have been caught if it was something even remote. It had to have been very, very small.
There might have been nothing there.
Yeah.
It might have been nothing.
Well, yeah, it might have been nothing.
I
there.
love how the first thing Rob goes, he goes, it had to be something small. Wow, the prophet is just dropping bombs.
Like,
Just like in what
By
we're
the
talking
way-
about, the first thing that goes, where's the sound?
You have to,
you
you have to remember. You have to. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have to remember too. I think the key part of this, he told him, "You know what it is. You don't have to look at it." I think that's key here.
I know.
So
I
it's something
agree.
sentimental. It's not
if,
like
if
a
it's
piece of
nothing, he
paper
doesn't
or
have to
that.
look at it.
It's something that when he feels it, he knows what it is.
Yeah, that makes me think it's a ring of some sort, or definitely a watch could be a thing, for sure. Definitely an odd segment. This feud again, because now we're going to be going on. So obviously, apparently, the dirt sheets are talking. This could be a feud that goes on all the way to next year's WrestleMania. I think Rob, you already mentioned. I would like to see it go to SummerSlam and end there for sure. But the funny thing is, this feud could kind of be defined by The Rock doing something mysterious and leaving Cody in the ring, because that's happened twice in the last 3 weeks. But so with that said, speaking of the weeks to come, obviously we have Cody Rhodes as champion. Now, is there any talk of the future title picture on the Raw after WrestleMania? Because I didn't really hear any. I didn't see any.
Just really from
The Rock.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Because
Technically, yes, but he wasn't there. I think it's going to be Sheamus. They showed that promo.
Oh, that's
but he
right.
wasn't
I agree.
there.
Sheamus can't just waltz back in and say it's fight night and get a title shot. That would be ridiculous. So,
yes,
speaking of ridiculous, let's go around the horn here. Actually, you know what? I mistitled this. Gives back. But what do we have next for Cody Rhodes as far as an opponent? Who would you like to see him face the next time he has a title defense? Slick, why don't you go, Micah, and then we'll go around the horn. Who would you like to see next up with Cody Rhodes?
Well, it's interesting because the first real promo we saw for WWE Backlash came out today. And it features none other than Cody Rhodes holding that new strap that he just won over the back of his shoulder. Does that lead me to think he's going to defend it at Backlash? Probably. Do I think it's going to be Roman Reigns? Not a chance. I think Roman's going to go off and do what he's going to do. Maybe like go Hollywood like his cousin. Go annoy on them guys for a bit. But I really don't know. This is a toss-up because Backlash, depending on where where are they going for Backlash? Did someone say France?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to bring the European aspect of that into things, I don't even know where you would go from there. Sheamus, like you mentioned, they just teased him. I would pop for that. That'd be cool for sure. Fans were chanting RKO when it was brought upon Triple H talking about who Cody Rhodes' first challenger may be down the line. So you know what the fans want to see ultimately, but you could go a lot of different ways here. My official prediction, I am going to go right now with Sheamus because I really have no other idea. And I thought whoever just said that was a great point from that tease.
Yeah, I was also thinking about Sheamus once I saw that promo. It would be a great way to slot him. He's a ready-made guy to step in for a title match. He's obviously has world championships under his belt too. It's hard to say because he's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow. I'm assuming there's going to be some bloodline interaction there tomorrow. So could it be someone not as exciting like Jimmy Uso or something like that? With Jay in the other title match, you do Jimmy in the one and have them both kind of follow it up that way. But I do think the Randy Orton program has to happen at some point. So I will go with Randy Orton here because I think you got to get that match. Listen, the talk about Randy is that he's been in all these multi-man matches and not many singles matches because he doesn't have a lot of bumps left. Like has a hurt back. He's coming back to get this work in, but who knows how long he's going to stay around for. So get the Cody program started and underway sooner than later, I would say. If that's a match you want to do, I think you have to do it earlier. So I think Cody comes out, he's celebrating Friday night. We hear Randy Orton's music start. But Kevin Owens is a good option too, but he just got pinned in that US title match. He not really the most credible option, but I think I'll go with Randy.
Yeah, I'm glad that everyone's not taking the profit because, this is my show, but you don't have to all copy me. But, I said Sheamus, but we also have heard about Roman how he's going to turn babyface eventually. Why not kick that off? He's going to be gone for a few months, but why not kick it off tomorrow night and have Solo come out? Remember, Solo is the heir to the throne for Tribal Chief, according to Roman. So if something had happened to Roman, Solo would be the next in line. So why not start that matchup, have Solo do it, and then eventually when Roman comes back, he could turn on Solo and become the babyface. It would start Roman's next feud, and it would kick off Cody right away.
It's tough. I mean, I can agree with the Sheamus point, for sure. I mean, who came out really looking strong, I guess, out of WrestleMania? I mean, Solo didn't have a
Not
match.
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, yeah, but he's in the conversation with Punk.
No, I said not. I said not Drew McIntyre.
Oh, not Drew
You said
McIntyre.
who came
No,
out
I
looking
thought Drew
strong.
looked strong. I mean, he looked good. He did a great,
It was a joke.
I would say, I mean, dude, I could totally see it being Sheamus. I could totally see it being AJ Styles. We saw AJ kind of touch on, retirement is approaching pretty quickly. He's in a lot of pain.
AJ Styles is a very good one that hasn't been mentioned yet for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
What about the guy that beat him though?
That'd be a banger.
That's where I was going to go with it next. But do they view LA Knight as a world heavyweight title guy, or is he undisputed WWE? Like that's where I'm thinking. I feel like that I could see LA Knight more or less at some point wearing the world heavyweight championship more than I do what Cody's about. You know what I mean? Like I think that's just my opinion. I think they have different roster wrestlers lined up for Cody. Sorry, I bit my tongue and slurred my words a little bit, but yeah, I could see it being AJ Styles.
The interesting thing about Backlash is that the draft happens before Backlash too. So like we're gonna know, like we're gonna have. I mean, you assume these matches are gonna be set up, and then it'll be the draft, and then we'll be like, okay, like it could be Cody's on SmackDown now, and he's facing a Raw superstar, and Priest vice versa with the other way. So it's gonna be interesting to see kind of how they book that out once they do the draft and everything else there.
Would any of you agree that like you could probably see LA Knight more or less like a world heavyweight title?
Well, I could see him getting a WWE title match though, because he got it against.
I don't think that really matters because obviously no one expects him to win.
No. But
I think it's
when he eventually holds a belt, it'll be that one, not Cody's belt.
I wouldn't put either out of the question, but yeah, that one's more likely. I think he's still a long way from holding either of those belts, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that long of way. I think he's Mr. Money in the Bank 2024 LA Knight. So you watch your mouth slack as far as you're talking.
I mean, you got a whole year with that briefcase. Look at what Damian did. People
they played that for 6 months.
And Damian came out looking better, right?
Exactly.
Like Damian got better with the briefcase. I like Finn Balor too, but you guys are missing the most obvious candidate of all. There's one man walking around in that locker room, and he's furious. He's upset. He just had his title taken away, so he's looking for retribution in any form he can get it. And that man is the Ring and the General Gunther. Cody's going to go, and he's going to prove. Cody's going to say he's a fighting champion. I'll take on anyone. I will fight anyone. I'm going to be a working champion. I'm going to be and then that music's going to hit, and you're going to see a face on Cody that's just a little bit different.
The only problem with that is that I agree, yes, it could be, but will they have him lose a title match right before he's going to have that title match at in Germany in October? Do you think they would have him lose now and then have another one that soon?
I don't think.
Yeah, because that's when he's going to face off with Kaiser.
I don't think you can have him lose 2 in a row unless him and Cody have literally like the match of the year.
I mean, they did have Seth lose 3 times in a row. No belt involved.
To Cody, yeah. So anything's possible, but Gunther's a different beast. Like it took everything from Sami Zayn to beat him. I know Cody just Cody just beat like the Reign, and you're gonna have Cody beat like the next best reign that there was going in the WWE.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You don't have to.
That will just make the ratings look dumb.
You're right, but Triple H has a way of explaining the storytelling, right? My thinking is that something will happen between Gunther's minions, or maybe the knee or something during the match, and he sells that injury, comes back at the next pay-per-view, obviously like a hero. But I really think that's a good opportunity to be like, this is a serious title reign, and these matches are going to be bangers for sure.
Bobby
Actually,
Lashley
yeah,
could be
I
one.
definitely like the ideas.
Bobby Lashley, but the only person who thinks Bobby Lashley is important is like WWE brass to me. Like, did anyone care about the Pride at like WrestleMania? Like, I'm sorry.
No, and
I
Cross
didn't
is
even know,
on
I didn't even
NXT
know
now,
that was
so.
their name. So
Wait, the Pride just sent Cross back to NXT. Oh
Yes,
my
sir.
God, that
Well,
is
you gotta be
terrible.
kidding
But
me,
all right,
man.
but he can go and retool. It was an embarrassing loss at Mania, so there's
That's
really
what-
nowhere to
the
go.
interesting
fun,
part
Sean.
about the
Have
draft.
Lose.
have fun hanging out with Sean Spears, buddy.
That's the interesting part about the draft is apparently NXT is going to be involved somehow making selections. I doubt they're going to have like the same amount of picks or anything like that, but there's going to be some main roster people that are kind of surprising. I heard
Ivar.
rumors about Shinsuke, Ivar down there, and that's why Shinsuke was in that match with Ilya the other day. So there could be some interesting pieces down in NXT.
Could it be
Okay.
a current NXT star
Yeah.
at Backlash?
It could be maybe giving someone a chance, the land of opportunity. Who knows? But speaking of opportunity, let's take an opportunity right here and have a little bit of train wreck trivia brought to you by our friends at Batavia Down.
Batavia Down is more, lots more.
Cody Rhodes is again a singles champion in WWE. Which championship did he last have as a singles competitor in
Intercontinental
WWE?
title.
Intercontinental.
Intercontinental
And
title,
who did he win
Big
it
Show.
from? Did he win it
Was
from
that-
Big Show?
Was that the
I
last
guess?
one?
Yeah, the second one. I guess I rephrased that wrong. I was trying to talk about his original time. He won it from Ezekiel Jackson. I blew it. Sorry, Batavia Downs.
Batavia Down is more, lots more.
Okay, real quick before we move on to AEW and other stuff and all
You
kinds
say
of fun
Ezekiel?
there. Ezekiel Jackson. Rhea Ripley. Does anyone see her losing this title before SummerSlam? That's the only
No.
question here.
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be a reign of epic proportions. And speaking of epic proportions, obviously last night we saw some footage. So it's leading a lot of people to ask the question, did CM Punk tell the truth? Because I am seeing a lot of people online say that CM Punk did 100% tell the truth. If you think CM Punk 100% told the truth to Ariel Helwani, raise your hand.
I wouldn't say 100.
Okay, so you would
85%.
say he lied, correct, Rob? He
I had a promo going. Now you just ruined my goddamn promo.
All right. The Prophet. Here's the Prophet's promo brought to you by the Downs.
All right. Well, I started it before, and I'll continue it now. As I was saying, I love AEW. I love what they're doing. Their superstars have, or whatever they fucking call them over there. I don't give a shit.
Oh my
Wrestlers.
Wrestlers, yeah.
that's
but
what they do,
This
right?
was bad on Tony Khan and the Bucks. It was not needed. Tony Khan says it was for viewership for last night. That barely went up. He says it's for viewership for Dynasty. Is that really gaining anything more? I know we say that it was building a storyline for FTR and the Young Bucks, but is anyone actually talking about that match right now? No, they're talking about CM Punk and how Tony Khan is childish and petty for even showing this. There's plenty of people in that company that even says, "Why did we show that? It just hurts us more than
Who
it
said
helps."
it?
I mean, it's just rumored around. You really in that
Right.
company wanted that.
I read it on a dirt sheet.
All right, I'm going to continue. Shut your mouth. No,
I
you're
was
wrong.
just
Shut
asking
your
a
mouth.
question.
That's fair. Good job, Prophet.
As I was saying, we're talking about did Punk lie? He lied a little bit, but for the most part, what he said on Ariel's show was right. He was sitting backstage. He walked up to Perry and goes, "Why the fuck do you do this stupid shit, this internet shit on TV?" And Perry goes, "If you have a problem, do something." And Punk goes, "I'll fucking kill you." Obviously, he pushed him and choked him. No punches were ever thrown. And then he turns and a small lunge. Not like I'm scared for my life. I thought I was going to die. Turns to Khan and goes, "This place is a joke. You're a clown and I quit." And we're also back to the storyline of FTR and Bucks. Doesn't really help FTR and Bucks. It's going to help more in WWE with Drew and Punk than it is going to help with FTR and Bucks. It was not
So
needed.
do you think Punk quit before the match with Samoa Joe that he had it all in?
Well, there was rumors that I forgot if this was
What he
Ariel's.
says, but
I don't
CM
know.
Punk
No
always says the truth.
fucking chance did he quit before that match. 0.0%.
But there was also, I forgot if he said on the podcast or someone else said it, that people came to him right before that and goes, put on a good show, put it behind you and put on a good show. I think Joe went to him and said that. Like, said,
Yep, it was Joe.
Yeah, ignore that and just come on and put on a show and we'll figure out it afterwards. Like, once again, it was not needed. I don't think it helps anything. It just makes Khan look petty, and it hurts him more than AEW is going to have the same, but it did not add any more viewership. Will it lose? Probably not, because AEW fans are very passionate about AEW, but I don't think that gained any fans like I think Khan was trying to get.
Okay. I like that. Dwayne, unleash. Let it be known. Get your thoughts out there.
All right, so let's just break this whole thing down. How did this all start? It's an hour. How did it all start?
Real glass.
You're on borrowed time here, bro. You better hurry up.
I'm on about. All right, then let Jake and let Micah and Slick go first. Then
No, you're
no,
the
I'm not.
people saying that
I
you're
don't
the people
want
saying
time. I
this
don't
stuff.
clock.
Okay.
I don't want to clock.
Okay.
I want to speak my mind.
Okay. All right. Well, then your time's done, I guess. You voiced
I wanna
all your
speak my
thoughts you have
mind,
on
so-
CM Punk. Okay. Yep. Muted. All right, Micah. There you go. What do you got?
There's a lot of layers to this. There's a lot of different angles you can look at it. Rob, I do think that Tony Khan was definitely being petty. I think one thing that you have to learn from wrestling history about wrestling promoters, they're all liars. They're all carnies. He wasn't doing that to try to get a bump in rate of viewership. That's a great thing to say at a press conference and be like, we think it's going to help advance the story and everything. I do think they made it into a way to advance the build for FTR and the Bucks. I like the FTR coming right out after and giving I thought that was one of Dax's best promos right after, and it was really good, effective. Did they need this to build that match? Not necessarily, but Tony Khan did this to be petty, and it wasn't a great decision to do it.
Thanks.
My biggest issue with the reaction to everything today and last night was that it was like somehow that showing this footage and it being a petty thing to do absolved CM Punk from assaulting his coworker and everything else that he had done prior, that he admitted to on the podcast, that he wanted to leave, that all the issues.
Yeah.
The one constant we have with all these issues with all these different people in AEW is CM Punk. And that's the thing that's bothering me about the discourse today, is that it's like he didn't get his part of the blame either. It's like, oh man, Tony's just petty and Perry was asking for it and everything else. It didn't need to happen that way still. It's a man who wanted out of his job. He got out of his job. He probably got into the fight because he wanted to get fired, got fired. He's more over than ever. He's going to make $1 million more or however much with this program with Drew. Drew McIntyre is the biggest beneficiary of this for sure. It's not AEW. It was a petty thing to do, but it was fucking funny. It was so funny watching it. It was a hilarious show. The show itself was hilarious. And I don't think it hurts AEW in any way to do it. It might hurt Tony Khan's reputation, but it hurts Tony Khan's reputation with people that already didn't really like Tony Khan. So what the hell does he care about that at that point? So I just, my biggest issue is with, let's not forget that Punk is the guy here who caused an issue in the first place. Well, not in the first place, because there's a lot of blame to go around, but in going to violence in this is a whole different animal that we're talking about.
And I totally agree. I mean, Punk is not totally at right here. Obviously, you don't do that at your workplace. Obviously, it wasn't in kayfabe. It was
Not right at all.
Him was actually.
Let's talk more. Let's talk more about the Tony Khan aspect. Let's throw out the Jack Perry aspect. Whatever goes down with them. Like the fact that people are downplaying that he was inches from charging full throttle at Tony Khan is insane, Rob. You've done it in the chat. Dwayne has mentioned it as well. Like if he was not being held back, he would have been charging full throttle through the monitors at Tony Khan. That's just a fact, correct? Is that a fact?
Yes, but I don't think I don't think that he was going to attack Tony Khan. Like he wasn't.
He just wanted to talk nose to nose.
But also,
But
if you think he was really going full force at Tony Khan, don't you think he would have tried a little harder to get away from two guys holding him not very hard? Obviously, none of it was right. I'm not saying what he did was right. None of it was right. But he was not a liar. He said what happened. Maybe he was a little false, and it was a little false. I'm not going to say maybe it was a little false. But I
I
don't
would
think
say
he was going to
he
attack Tony
euphemismed
Khan.
it. He euphemismed it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to go attack Tony Khan. Like that would have got him arrested.
Well,
I gotta post this. I've survived the copyright thing. We got to take a look at the 6 seconds of footage. Rob, this man is barely holding him back. Barely holding him back. He's got an arm completely around the waist, and he whips him
that's
here.
Ace Steel, is it not?
Yeah, he's got him. He's got him in a pretty lock hold there, where he's like, "Do not continue to charge." Like
Ace
everyone,
Steel's
the one thing
I've
I
seen
will
this
say-
shit before.
regardless of whether you think Jack Perry's a bitch, regardless of whether you think Samoa Joe's standing there kind of just looking everything is hysterical, regardless of whether you think this video had sound or not, the one thing that's undeniable is everybody was looking at this like he was a psychopath. It doesn't matter if it was his friends that were involved, doesn't matter if it was the other people involved. Everyone knew that CM Punk was completely out of line doing
Bro,
this.
even
So,
Joe
yeah,
in the
I-
video turns around and it's like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, we're about to have a match."
Everybody, even his friends, of course.
Yes, but do you think? Here's a question. Yes, maybe he was not. Maybe he was being held back fully. But do you really think he was going to attack Tony Khan?
Nope.
I don't know. I don't think Tony Khan should have feared for his life.
No, he's
No,
not
but
doing
the-
all right,
it.
all right.
the
You
fear
finally
for-
got something to say, Dwayne, or are you gonna? Are you
Yeah,
gonna
no,
say
I
you
do.
don't
I
wanna talk
do.
again?
So before
Okay, go
I
ahead.
give my discourse and before you say, "Oh, you
No.
just hate
Start it now. You're on borrowed
No.
time, as we said.
before people say I just don't like AEW, first and foremost.
Well, we know that. That's a fact.
No. Right here. Super Kick Club was a fan
You
of
like
the
the
Bucks.
Young Bucks. You don't like AEW.
Kenny Omega. Bucks of Jericho. I don't ever want to hear that I didn't like AEW. You can ask Ty B. I was ecstatic.
I never watched
Ecstatic.
AEW until the next day.
Ecstatic.
That was said in the chat less than an hour
Don't
ago.
interrupt
We
me.
said less
I
than an hour ago.
was
It's okay.
ecstatic when they announced that AEW was going to form.
That was my bad. My bad.
I watched the original press conference. Tony Khan ruined it for me because he's soft. He's not a boss. I've said that so many times. That guy is too much of a friend, and he's not a boss, and he can't book long term. And don't get me wrong, WWE's reemergence has helped me fall in love with wrestling again, not AEW. I was a fan of the Elite. I was a fan of the Bullet Club. I was ecstatic when they invaded Raw. All they did was send out a tweet, "This is where we're going to be," and they all showed up. All the fans of the Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, how he reinvented himself. I was ready for it. Tony Khan ruined that because he's a spoiled brat billionaire who can't book for shit. Now,
It sounds personal. I want to know what happened. Dwayne.
because he's an
I
asshole.
want to know what happened.
No,
What are you
I hear a
doing?
lot of
Yeah,
emotion,
he's
not
an
a lot
idiot.
of like examples.
He's an
I hear a lot of
idiot. And this
emotion,
is
not
why
a lot of
wrestling with
Tony Khan
emotion.
is an idiot.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
No. Don't. Let's not move the goalposts here. I'm talking.
Who
What are
hurt
the
you?
goalposts?
Not moving any.
Like, what did he do?
What happened? What originally started all of this?
CM
Last
Punk
night,
going
what
off
happened?
at a
Who
post-conference
started-
presser for no reason.
Michael wants to say CM Punk shouldn't be absolved, and he shouldn't be. But what started all of this?
CM Punk going off for no
No,
reason. At
what
a press
started
conference
all
for
of
no
this?
reason.
What
I
started
said
all of
it,
this?
all right. All right.
What
you
started
have one
all of
more.
it?
You have one more.
What is it? Tell us.
Who grabbed a camera on a nationally televised pay-per-view in front of millions of people, in front of allegedly 80,000 people, and said, "Real glass, what do you say, cry me a river, go cry about it," sent a direct shot at CM Punk, unprovoked.
You really hate
Unprovoked.
AEW though.
We're
Yeah,
talking.
but you
We're
promote that.
talking a lot about that, and not
You
about.
gotta admit
No,
you hate
but this
AEW.
what led to
It's-
that. But that's the thing.
No, hold on.
What led to that? We're all asking-
Hold on. I'm muting you. I'm muting you for a
Is-
second.
is
Because
same
before you go
climate-
on, I want you to admit you hate AEW because it's actually discrediting all your other points when you don't admit that you hate AEW.
Is he saying?
So I
are
want you to come
saying
back.
that-
I want you to admit you hate AEW, and then I want you to move on.
I don't hate the wrestlers involved with AEW.
But you
I
hate
don't hate the
AEW.
Young Bucks.
I just
my
want to
God.
confirm you hate
No.
AEW.
I just showed you proof that I am fans of them.
But then why?
I've
but if
spent
you're
money
hating-
multiple times.
But if you're such a fan of wrestling and you love wrestling, why would you question AEW's attendance numbers at an event that was one of the greatest wrestling events of all time? You just said they didn't have 80,000. You said supposedly 80,000.
Because we don't
It was
know
an
what the
event that
number is.
WWE
It's been debated how many different times.
To be fair,
We
they
don't
did
know what the
announce
turnstiles were.
the
Like,
ticket,
know
whatever
how many-
they call the people who scan the ticket. It was about 72.
Like,
Okay.
it was
I'm
80,000.
just saying.
Like, you know what I mean? And no, I am.
Yeah.
I literally have how many times I don't watch it live. I don't have time to watch live. I don't care to watch it live because there's not enough there to
Because you don't like
captivate
it.
me.
You
in
hate
terms
it.
of storytelling.
You watched
I'm
it
not a guy
live
who
when they
cares.
mentioned CM
Holy
Punk was going to be
shit.
on.
If you're gonna let me talk. I care about storytelling. I can give a less of a shit half the time of what's going on in the ring. I've said that time and time again. I care about storytelling. That's why I watch. I'm there for the drama. AEW doesn't have enough of it for me. They don't have enough to keep me around.
Give me some
and keep me
examples. Give me
focused
some
on it.
examples of Tony Khan being a shitty booker, like you said. Was
Vanderpump
the
Rules is
Hangman
on right
Page
now,
Kenny
too, by the
Omega
way.
story? Was that something that was good? That went on basically 18
I
months.
literally just said he doesn't do enough to keep my attention.
Survivor.
Okay,
is
but
also
you have
on
no
Wednesday
examples.
night,
You have
though.
no examples. You're it's
Like,
just you.
In all honesty, in the last 6 months, the most captivating long-term storybook is Sting's Go Away tour for me.
Great story.
Yeah. But like
6 months ago, Better Than You, Bebe was doing
and in
just
the main
as many
event
numbers on
in that
digital
match
as WWE.
in that match, the most memorable moment had nothing to do with Sting. What do you remember most in that match?
I remember the
Sting gonna
entrances
be
with his
doing that.
sons. I remember the crazy.
Darby Allin has a
him
little
winning.
do with Spring.
I remember the
Sting.
night ending with Sting holding a title up. Like, what?
You mean the cinematic entrance where he came out with his sons and all his different versions of characters throughout his career? I kind of remember that.
Talked about thing from that match, and we're even getting away from the point.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on shitty booking examples from Tony
because
Khan.
he
Corbin
is not a
Heyman's
good
pretty good.
booker. Look at
So there should be. It should be easy for you to give me examples.
Yeah, say
every
something.
time. Oh my god!
Give me an
Say
example.
something.
Are you just
I'm
going to say
giving
you
you
don't like it, or
examples.
are you going to give me examples? Are you going to say you don't like it, or are you
They
going
have
to give me
yet to
examples?
turn a profit. They have yet to
Remember
turn
when
a
Jade
profit.
Cargill
yes,
went
there's
from
always
like
such a
No,
great-
we said a
superstar?
storyline example, buddy.
A storyline sell tickets. What sold? Why is WWE selling out arenas over and over again? Why can't you sell WrestleMania?
They can't profit. Cry me a
This
fucking
whole-
river, dude.
First off, getting back to my point originally, this whole thing started because of him looking into a fucking camera and saying,
Storyline example.
and that you don't expect a confrontation from that. You don't expect a confrontation from that.
To me, it
After
sounds
what he
like
had just been
saying
through with the
Cry Me a
Elite
River
Bucks,
is worse
after
than like a
literally he
coworker.
went on Hawani and said, we squashed it. It was fine. He said, okay, I get it. It's a rental car. And then he goes in front of the camera, pulls it in like this, and says, look at that. Real glass, cry me a river. Go cry about it. And
Do
you
you know how
don't
many
expect
times
a
people have, like,
confrontation from
shot-
CM fucking Punk? Are you fucking high? Are you
Yes.
high?
I mean, yeah. To me, that just says
we
CM
are.
Punk's unprofessional and seems like the kind of guy that would
That
attack
wasn't
coworkers and
unprofessional
grill.
at all.
I seem to remember.
Okay.
I seem to
Do you know
remember
how many
CM
times
Punk.
people said,
Are-
like,
do
real
you just
shots
believe
on
that two wrongs
wrestling
make a
TV?
right every time?
No, I don't. But you're sitting here like painting.
Look, you don't even listen to what we
Jack
say.
Perry takes no blame at all.
You don't
Why
even
does
listen
Jack
to what
Perry
we
take any
say.
blame in this?
Nobody.
Jack gets blame and he's been gone.
No,
He's
you
a
don't
scapegoat. He's
listen
been
to
gone
what
for
we
6
He's
months.
been out of wrestling for 9 months, dude.
Not to
Hey,
you guys,
Jack
though.
Perry's
He's
not
not
out
to
of
blame,
wrestling.
right?
I just
He's
said
not
he
to blame
did.
you guys.
No,
It's all
Dwayne,
CM Punk.
reality
It's all
check.
CM Punk.
Jack
It's all
Perry has
him.
been out of
He's the
wrestling for
unhinged
9
one.
months,
He's the
bro.
guy. You're like, no, fuck
Well,
that.
He's
is
not out of
on.
wrestling. He's wrestling
Jack Perry
in
is just
Japan.
as much to blame,
As far
if
as
not more,
American
for that
audiences,
happening.
he's not.
Because if he doesn't do what he does, it never even happens.
If not more, is crazy. 'Cause you
I
shouldn't
agree. If
attack
he
somebody
doesn't do
backstage.
what he does, it never
That's-
happens. The same thing can be applied to CM Punk at the press conference with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. If CM Punk doesn't go
And
off
what
on
led to that?
unnecessary
and
tangent,
what led to that?
CM Punk being a fucking asshole, Dwayne.
Hey, don't
fucking
go against
clue.
your word.
Get
You're
up,
not
fucking
fucking
clue.
Punk.
But what led to him shooting on on Hangman Page?
Because he's a
Hangman
little
Page going.
bitch.
Was
CM
that
Punk
not
is
part
a
of the- Did you
bitch.
guys watch the whole interview?
Yeah, did you?
my God.
Yeah, I did, start to finish. I actually watched it twice. That
Next
whole
week, you're
thing,
gonna tell me about how
would brawl
Ryback's
out-
an
that
unsafe
whole
worker.
thing with Brawl Out started because Hangman Page went off script after what him and Punk talked about
Yeah, we
on
know,
live
we
TV
know, we know.
and went into business
We
for
watched
himself.
it. We watched it.
And then
Agreed.
you know what? And then you know what?
Instead of
and then
going
you know
to
what
Tony
this-
Khan in the back and saying
You
we
don't
need to talk
listen
this
to what
out,
we say.
we
And
just
then-
goes to a press conference and says that the Young Bucks can't manage a target. The guys that you love so much.
I work with fucking children, is what he said.
And Punk sat down
He
in
said,
that
"Come
ring.
see me."
He called out Hangman when Hangman was not supposed to be scheduled right after that too. So like they're both wrong in this case. That's what we're.
But again, your guys are going back. I'm not saying that CM Punk wasn't wrong. Clearly, he was wrong.
Oh, you've been saying he isn't wrong.
you're
You've been
acting
defending
like
and
there
saying
wasn't
he's right
an
the whole time.
exact
No, don't even
cause
try to
and
get off this
effect
point.
to what
Don't even
things
try to
happened.
get off this point. Don't even try to get off this point right now. You've been defending
What
him.
point? What
You
point
said
are we
he
getting
did
off
it wrong.
on?
You always
People
point out that
shoot
it's someone
on live
else.
TV.
Someone else is the issue.
People shoot on live TV.
No,
all
I'm
the
not
time.
all
sitting
the
there saying that
time.
CM Punk
We
is.
should-
I'm not considering saying CM Punk isn't the issue. He was an issue. He is at
Was
fault.
Sammy
But
Punk
why
saying?
is the
was Sami
narrative?
Zayn saying-
Why is the narrative always? He is a problem. He is a cancer. He is
Because he
this,
has a
he is
history of
that.
doing it.
Why?
He has a history
Why?
of it, Dwayne.
Cause and effect, bro. Cause and effect.
This
is
is the
professional
common
wrestling.
denominator here. Yeah.
It's
That's
like
simple.
if somebody blows down my house and there's a line of suspects and a wolf is one of them, like I might be more tempted to think the wolf's at fault because of the history of the wolf. Okay, and in
If
the case
someone
here,
ate
it's no
my
different.
porridge and I'm looking at it Goldilocks with
Yeah,
mess
if
all over her
Goldilocks,
chops, and she's
Exactly.
snoozing in my own bed, I'm gonna be like, "What the
Exactly.
fuck are you doing, you little bitch?"
But listen, one thing that's important is that this is all born out of the love of wrestling. So that's why we're here to talk wrestling with emotion. We got the final word from Timmy Micah. Punk is the cause.
I will say
of ratings and drama.
I
Go
will
on.
say one thing is one of my main criticism of CM Punk in AEW was that he was way too PG Punk, way too happy with the crowd. I was like, I need some evil CM Punk. Beating up Jack Perry, pretty punk rock.
Be
Gotta
careful
say
what
that.
you wish
Pretty
for,
punk
I
rock.
guess.
I have no problem with him going after Jack Perry when he says, was it professional? No. Was it
No.
completely wrong at the time? No. Was it like the worst fucking timing of all time and borderline disrespectful to his coworker, Samoa Joe, who's literally just standing there getting ready to go for a match?
Lifelong friend.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But, I guess Jack Perry said one thing, so CM Punk had to do like 38 unprofessional things.
What Jack Perry said because there's no audio.
I do gotta say too.
That clip
what
doesn't have
Punk-
audio, by the way.
What Punk said that he said, he definitely said, like, I believe it. But
Yeah.
there was way more said. There's no way he said all of that as long as that clip went on. There was a lot more said that he did not
Absolutely, there
disclose.
was.
I bet you
Absolutely.
Jack Perry honestly kept saying, do something about it, do something about it, do something about it.
And
Punk
then
was just
he did
bombing it.
something about it.
All I gotta say is it's a tough look when you do like the double push, like back to back, like, and then you keep doing stuff. Like the other person clearly doesn't want to fight
Jack
you.
Perry was down on the ground posing no threat, and Punk went in for the choke as salt in the wound.
I'm telling you, dude.
That's a question. This is regardless of whether you defend CM Punk or not. Dwayne and Rob, did Jack Perry fight back at all?
No, I think he was. I think.
So you
that
can't really say he kicked his ass,
no,
right?
no,
Because he just beat up
did not
somebody
fight
that
back
like.
at all.
I got you.
But here's the thing. It wasn't just said by CM Punk that he said do something. It was reported by not reported, but
But
it
the
was
point is
said
they
by
didn't
other
fight
people
back.
in the
So
room
it's
that
just
Jack
like-
Perry said that.
I get it, but
If you're gonna
probably
say
saying
do
that
something
because
and then somebody does something, you shouldn't be surprised
Probably-
by it.
it's
I don't
like
think he
yeah,
was.
I don't think he was.
I don't
And
think
they
he
both
was.
got punished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, one person definitely got punished for sure. All right. Well, hey, speaking of punishment, that's the end of our punishment for today. Thanks for tuning in along with us. Make sure you're following Dwayne S39. Make sure you're following our Robbie Ryan 1108. Make sure you're following Jake Mike. And make sure you're following Slick. Make sure you're following myself. Make sure you're following Wrestle W Emotion, because this is the show where it's not wrestling with your budget. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It is the Profits Show. No, wrestling with emotion. Scissor.
Just wait.